Next is a struggling children's novelist. I've read some of her stuff and I think she might do quite well. It's J.K. Rowling, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Lovely to have J.K. Rowling here. This is a special occasion. Thank you for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
I have read the new Harry Potter book, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And personally, Joe, I think you could have done better than "And it was all a dream" at the end. And we have guests of the series out, ladies and gentlemen. Parents, brace yourself. In a fortnight, you'll have 700 pages of bedtime story to get through. Will you please welcome J.K. Rowling? The J stands for Joanne, I believe, but Joe, but everyone calls you Joe. Yeah. And the K isn't actually your name, is it?
No, it's my grandmother's name. They wanted a second initial, so I took Kathleen.
And is that
my middle name.
To make it sound more highbrow?
Blokey.
Or more blokey?
Yeah, they thought it was a book that the first book would appeal to boys.
If you had the double initial?
Yeah, they thought maybe they'd be turned off by a woman writing. Like
there's the author A.S. Byatt.
Yes, he's a woman.
Yeah, but I thought we didn't know what the name stood for, and we asked our kid, and she said maybe it stands for Animal Sounds. And I thought that'd be a great name for someone. Animal Sounds Byatt. How'd you do? Well, Joe, thank you for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
I'm a huge fan of the books. Obviously, the kids have adored them, and you know, I'm speaking on behalf of just about everyone in the country, I think, when I say just how magnificent they are and what a lovely contribution you made to our life. Really, it's genuinely, I feel honoured to have you here. So thank you for coming on, J.K. Rowling, who has created magic for us over the last few years. And also, I'm delighted you're here because I know you don't really give a lot of interviews.
Not loads, no.
Do you find it easier now, though? Is it something you've just got more accustomed to the attention, or is it because the whole thing's behind you now? You finished the books.
I think finishing the books it's definitely been a release. I feel more relaxed. I thought I could come on here now and crash and burn, and what does it matter?
It doesn't matter. How much of your life have you spent with those books, with those characters?
17 years. 17
years?
I was 25 when I had the idea.
Wow. And how long between you having the idea and the first book being finished and then published? Was it?
7 years.
So
I've been published 10 years.
That's a long journey you went on there just to get it out there. Then.
Huge.
And the first book, is it why you came up with the idea for the book? You were on a train?
I was on a train. I don't even know what I was thinking about, and the idea just came into my head.
OK. Before we talk about Harry and the huge journey you've been on with those characters, what do you have planned next? What do you have... Do you know what you're going to write next, or just a long break?
I just want to take a break. I really do.
Do you think you'll go back into fiction which works for children and adults like the Harry Potter books, or...?
I honestly don't know, but I've said all along, and I still mean it, if I only ever write for younger people, I will never see that as second best. My wife the other night was reading a Judy Blume book to my little girl. Right.
And I was listening in the background, and man, I got really caught up in this book. It was a great book.
She wrote some great books.
Yeah, and normally I'm saying, send her to bed so I can have sex with you. But last night, I was saying, I want to find out what happens on the summer holiday. Did she get the carpet she wanted? It was gripping stuff. Did the first bar expedition work for her?
Oh, I know that one.
They go shopping for a bar. It was quite moving.
Yeah, it is moving.
It's a lovely book, and you know, and when fiction for children is written well, of course, it's second to none.
I think so.
But is it true? And I've heard this reported that when you started the books, you wrote the was it the epilogue or the
epilogue has been written
the final book
for years, yeah.
And you had that kept safe all that time.
Yeah. Well, they said I was keeping it in a safe. Of course I wasn't. I kept losing it. But yeah, I had the information in the epilogue.
So you knew where you wanted to go with this whole sequence?
Definitely, yeah.
And did you never feel like changing your mind? I mean, because I know sometimes when I've spoken to authors, they get to know characters while they're writing them. They know what they want to do with them, but certain characters come to the fore more and you change your feelings.
I changed it slightly. I have 2 characters I intended to keep alive die. But then that's been taken to mean that only 2 characters die in the book, and it's a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath, isn't it? Well,
no, it's not a bloodbath, but it's more than 2.
But you see, but there is a kind of a responsibility that comes with this, of course, because once children in particular, but adults as well, when they got hooked into characters, you don't want to see people dying, even though dramatically it might be more satisfying and it might be more true, and it helps you illustrate the evil of the bad characters. Yeah. I remember, as I was saying earlier, when Cedric died, I was horrified.
Were you upset? See, my husband didn't give a damn. He didn't like Cedric.
Did he? He didn't like Cedric.
No.
Why not? Too posh?
He got the girl. He was too smooth. Yeah. He was quite glad to see him go, I think.
But he was so decent at the end, Cedric. I thought that's why I liked him.
He was very stiff.
Because he was very sportsmanlike in a way that very few people are. I thought you know, early on in the book, I didn't care for him at all. I was quite happy for him to run over or something. But the end part, I didn't want to see him go.
So you cried at Cedric. Did you cry at Dumbledore?
Nah, because Dumbledore's an old man. He's had a long life. No, seriously. Look. Off. Coffeeanus. Is that the way to do it? I don't know.
That's beautiful.
That's poetry.
That is poetry.
Is that a problem, though, when you're writing a book with magic at the core? The fact that, in a way, you could do anything and explain it.
That's absolutely a central problem from the beginning, was to establish the limits, not what magic could do, but what it couldn't do.
So the parameters.
So you had to put the walls in place and contain the action. Otherwise, you've got no conflict, and without conflict, you haven't got a story.
And you haven't got any real kind of emotion when someone dies,
exactly.
if you could bring them back.
Sure.
Obviously, the books are written by you and they're coloured by your view of the world, but is there much of you as a person in the books? Are any of the characters more like you? Are your family in the books? Are the kids people you knew when you grew up? How much is it based on people in and around your life?
I think all the three main characters maybe are all aspects of me. Hermione is most obviously so, because I was quite swotty,
quite bookish,
introverted when I was a kid, yeah. I became less so, and she becomes less so.
Yeah, well, like people grow up, of course,
Yeah,
but she's a fabulous character.
I think so, I love her.
And I'm pleased that she's accepted and people like her for being like that, which is perhaps part of the message, I guess, in a subtle way. What about Harry? So what's Harry got that comes from you?
Well, he must come from me because he's totally imaginary, although various people have claimed to be the inspiration for Harry. It's absolute bollocks.
So how does that happen? Someone says that's based on me. Who
they
you
just
know,
crop up. It's
what,
really irritating.
People from school and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's incredible vanity to say it's based on me, even though you've said it isn't based on anyone.
Yeah.
But do they have a scar on their forehead and some sort of?
Doesn't seem to matter.
Okay. Who of the people you know in your circle of friends or your family? How many people have been allowed to read the new book?
One, my husband.
And is he a fan of the books?
He hadn't read any of them before we met, but he's got to say he is now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he can't read that.
Yeah, he liked the seventh one.
Okay, and what about your children? 'Cause I know your oldest daughter is a big fan, isn't she?
Yeah, she's nearly 14.
Has she read it yet?
No, but she's going to get my first copy.
Well, now, I think it would take quite a lot of control not to let your eldest child, who knows the book's finished.
She didn't want to have it before she finished school, before she finished term, because the pressure was going to be quite immense on her.
How difficult is it to keep things like this secure and to keep them quiet? Because, you know, if it was out early, if it snuck out in some way, it would be on the net, wouldn't it? It would be
it would, yeah. The last 3 books have been stolen from the printers.
Really? So when the manuscript's handed in?
Yeah, yeah.
And how do they get that back? What happens then? I mean, were they published illegally? They weren't. They managed
to all 3 of them disappeared at the printing stage.
And they were recovered?
Yeah. It's all a great story, and I only know half of the details.
Was it a house elf?
No, it was a bent security guard.
Bent security guard. Was Dobby the house elf based on Gary Lineker? I've always wanted to ask you that.
No.
But the physical resemblance, you can see what I'm saying.
No.
Yeah, the craven attitude and the big ears. No.
Gary Lineker's not craven.
Let me take the penalty. Please, Harry, give me a sock and I'll take the penalty for you.
How difficult was it for you when you were approached for the film rights, and how much control were you allowed to hold on to?
Well, I said no initially because Warner Brothers weren't the only people who wanted to do it, so I said no to everyone. And then Warner's came back and said, well, they thought it was a money issue, so they said, would you like a little bit more money? And I said no, and my problem was I didn't want to give them control over the rest of the story. So I said if they were prepared to guarantee that any sequels they made would be my sequels, then we could talk.
So was that a possibility? They wanted to buy the rights to the characters and not necessarily stick to the
exactly, so
sequence.
you could have Harry Does Las Vegas, or
Harry... with
whatever you want.
Harry Finds a Hooker.
Harry Finds a Hooker.
How is it for you working with the guys who make them film? I don't know how heavily you're involved. I know you visit the set and you obviously know the young actors who have grown up playing these roles, and there's a picture of them. How adorable they look there, and that's so. It's almost heartbreaking, isn't it? Because is it strange for you? Because in a way, those people are part of your life as well, in the way that the books are.
It's a weird relationship, actually. It's a little bit parental, and yet they're playing something that came out of your head. So there's this place where you meet, where you're both inhabiting the same character. So it's strangely intense from my point of view.
And are you, obviously those 3 leads I think have proven themselves to be more than up to the task, but are you overall, have you been pleased with the way the films have been cast and made?
I really have, yeah. To keep it all British, I think has been a hell of an achievement, because that's not the way it would necessarily have gone.
Let's have a look. This is the new movie. You've seen this, you were at the premiere, of course. What did you think of the movie?
It's great. I think it's the best one.
Okay, here you go. This is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. It's out in cinemas next week.
12th.
Oh, the 12th of July.
Make it a powerful...
Oh, you must get cramps. Doesn't that look great? I love those little things. Let me ask you about something which I think you have said is the case, but I don't know, is that, and this might have been something you planned and changed your mind, that when you were thinking about the end of the book and when you had this epilogue ready, that the last word in the book was scar. And was that so, and is that indeed the case still?
It was so for ages, and it's now not.
So it does end with scar?
No. Scar's quite near the end, but it's not the last word.
Could I ask you what the last word is?
No.
Oh, Joe!
I can't, no.
You're such a literary tease. You're a lit tease, that's what you are. Scar. But this was scar like the scar, not like scar like a message to you, Woody. Because I had a fantasy that Ron and Hermione would go to a specials gig and she would say, what the perfect end to our adventure, enjoying an evening of scar. Finch Buster, the message, 10 Commandments of Man, given to I and I.
That would have been brilliant.
That would have been a good ending.
But, yeah.
Not too late to change it, perhaps. Okay. How did it feel when you signed off on the book?
It felt... I can't think of anyone who could know how that felt, because there aren't that many people who've written a 7-book series that's taken them 17 years, and actually finishing it was the most remarkable feeling I've ever had, and I couldn't have told you which was uppermost, euphoria or feeling devastated.
Did you cry when you finished?
I didn't cry when I finished, but there's a chapter towards the end that I absolutely howled. It was unbelievable. When I finished writing it, and it's been planned for so long, and finishing writing that was... I was in a hotel room on my own, and I grabbed this... You know, they have those pitiful half bottles of champagne. Well, I was sobbing my heart out, and I ripped open the minibar and downed that in one, and then just sat there, just a mess. Yeah, and then went home covered in my scar, and that was really tough.
And what excuse did you give for your appearance and look? You come back from visiting a local motel, drunk and in tears, and say, yeah, I wrote a particularly heavy chapter. Well, no one's going to believe that, Joe.
Exactly.
What a trusting husband you have. Would you, or do you intend to ever write any more Harry Potter?
I think that Harry's story comes to quite a clear end in Book 7. But I've always said that I wouldn't say never, that I can't say I'll never write another book about that world, just because I think, what do I know, in 10 years' time I might want to return to it, but I think it's unlikely. I'm
going to show you a clip now, because I know you quite liked it, and one thing, obviously, Joe has done well out of the books. It's very rare that I'm the poorest man in any exchange these days, but certainly I feel like a veritable pauper sitting next to Joe here. But at the same time, what a lovely gesture when you wrote those books for Comic Relief, because there were millions there that you know, you could have written those books and kept for yourself, and you gave all that money, I know, and it raised literally millions and millions of pounds went to Comic Relief, and so thank you for that. That was a wonderful thing to do, and we have a clip of that they repaid your kindness by taking the piss out of you on Comic Relief. Have a look at this, and this is Dawn French as Harry Potter, of course. You'll see who it is as Harry, and it's Jennifer Saunders as Joe. Look at this.
Harry.
Well, you're a lot warmer and more personable than yourself. And you know, I was saying how much it was 2 books you had. It was the kind of glossary and the other thing.
Yeah.
Those books raised £16 million for Comic Relief. That's incredible, isn't it? Thank you. I love it. Before we part company, and it has been an absolute joy talking to you.
And for me too.
I'm very excited because I love a theme park.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter is being turned... It's going to have its own kind of little world as part of the Universal theme parks.
That's right, yeah.
Is this going to be the ones in Florida or Los Angeles?
Florida.
Florida. I would have thought so. They have more space there.
Yeah.
What's the plan? It's going to be a whole little... It's going to be a whole kind of Hogwarts area or a whole...
It's going to be Hogsmeade and Hogwarts.
Wow. So you can go... And will you be able to go on the Express at any stage?
It'll be there. You can do all sorts of stuff. It's going to be brilliant.
I can't wait. When will the theme park be open?
I think it's 2010 or something.
So but you know what? Even though it sounds like an improbable time away, time flies, and next thing you know, you're standing in a queue for 7 hours.
I can take my kids. It's going to be amazing.
You'll be able to get straight to the front of course.
I hope so.
I should think so. Hey, congratulations on
you.
Just a wonderful series of books. Thank you again for the comic relief contribution, and I can't wait for the new movie, but more importantly, the book, which is out. Is it July the 21st?
21st, yeah.
July the 21st. Ladies and gentlemen, Jo Rowling.
Thank
you, Jo. Stay. Go on, Johnny, stay there.
That was great.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you.
Jo Rowling. OK, my thanks to all my guests. Jo, of course, the wonderful Bob.